Hey guys, Jay here. So in this video today, I want to make an attempt in doing a summary or a TLDR version of the patch note. So this is the whole patch note that we are having for the upcoming patch of Path of Exile 2. It is more than 17,000 words, I believe, and around like 100,000 characters. I am going to try and sum it up to much less than that number. So yeah. If you find this helpful, please consider to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, now let's just get into the actual content. So in general, we are having Act 4. It is going to be Karui theme. Then we will have the interlude act, which are like small story to bridge the gap between the point that you finish Act 4 until the end game. So you have the sufficient level to actually do the end game by that point, right? So we no longer need to run through cruel difficulty anymore, which is a very good thing. Abyss is going to be the next league mechanic. Basically, there is a abyss crack running around the map where you are running through the campaign as well, and it will spawn monster from the crack. You will fight them, you'll gain reward. It can lead to bigger encounter. Basically, we have it in POE1 already, and yeah, in POE2 it looks really cool. But we will need to see and actually play it in the game to know if it is going to be good or not in terms of like drop or just currency making in general, right? Character overhaul. I'll try to go as fast as possible, so it's going to be short. Supports gem rework, so it no longer has a limitation of one support gem by default per character. Now you can freely use however many copies you want. And then there often will be 3 tiers to a support gem. It is not 3 tiers for every single support gem, but almost all of them is going to have this one. And in tier 1, tier and tier 2, it will generically give a numerical increase to your damage or your cast speed, or just for your skill. And then at tier 3, it might have some different more interesting interaction or condition to gain more bonuses, basically. At least that is from all the gems that we have been teased with so far. Some new and changed skill gem. My personal highlight for the skill gems here are Forge Hammer and Ancestral Cry. So this looks really cool in the trailer reveal and in the content reveal. So I'm really excited to try this one, even though there are a couple of like a nerf here and there for the warrior, but I still think that is going to be good. So yeah, again, this is just my personal highlight, by the way. Other player might care about the other stuff, but here are the things that I think are significant or I really enjoy, right? So also Ravenous Swarm. This is a new spirit gem. It is kind of like Summer Raging Spirit, but it will just automatically trigger, or it will just launch attack towards enemy when they come near your character. At least that is the description that we've seen so far in the patch note. So I am really excited to try this skill in particular. I think it sounds cool, right? Anything automated is cool for me. Elemental Remnant skill looks super cool. So Elemental Remnant are the new kind of like a skill interaction system for elemental skill, or elemental spells to be specific. So for example, your spark can be both fire and lightning. Your lightning wall would be your firewall will be lightning as well. Your frost bomb can also have fire or lightning or something, those kind of things, right? So they are making a whole new like interaction system between different elemental spell, which I think is basically reworking the entire class of the sorceress, and of course other classes can use those skills as well. So we have a lot of potential new build with this one. It looks really cool. I am excited to try this out as well. Green Feast. This is a fan favorite. Before, it gave us a shit ton of energy shield, and now it no longer gives any energy shield. So it will just give you remnant. When you pick it up, you can then use it when you accumulate enough to revive your minions instantly. Depending on how much you have, you will be reviving the minion with a certain amount of HP, right? So it is purely a minion skill right now. Keystone. So we have a couple of new keystone, but to me, these two stand out the most. So Hollow Palm technique. This is for unarmed archetype. You will have your crit chance, your attack speed, your damage skill based on other stat, and you don't need a weapon anymore. So it's pretty cool. I always like unarmed, especially for the monk class. There's a bunch of skill that is unarmed, but apparently they were not like well designed and well balanced before. Now with this one, maybe it is going to be viable. There's a couple of additional changes to this as well later on. Black Flame convert all fire damage to chaos, including ignite. And the most important thing in my opinion, it actually make the fire skill becoming purple, so it looks really freaking cool. PoE players, we are always attracted to the color purple, so please don't judge. Anyway, I think this has a little bit more potential than the face value of what it obviously is, because not only does it convert fire damage to chaos, it makes the ignite damage become chaos damage as well. And also it makes all chaos damage can contribute into an ignite. So chaos damage contribute into ignite means you can potentially either convert other types of damage into chaos and then ignite with it, or you can also use a chaos skill to ignite. So it opens up quite a lot of possibility now and in the future as well, where we get new skill. So I'm really liking this one from the look of it. New tier of basic crafting ore. So we will have a higher tier of greater transmutation, perfect transmutation. Basically, it is additional currency for higher tier crafting, so it is going to be a little bit more reliable to hit the stuff that you are really want at the later stage of the game, right? Some of these changes, these are like the standout things to mention first, but some of them might repeat in the later part of the patch note. End game changes. So we are going to have Uber Arbiter Ash. This is going to be a new version. You are going to be able to get to this by farming the fragment from the Citadel bosses with the maximum amount of points allocated into the Atlas boss skill tree. So Arbiter of Ash is going to get a Uber version, which is going to be harder. Splinter system to scale the cost with difficulty. So basically, before we have, for example, a audience with the king, and you will encounter the audience with the king, you will fight the king in the mist, right? Now you no longer have that. You have the splinter for the audience with the king, for example, and it will require 50 splinter to enter the first tier, 75 to enter second tier, 100 to enter the third tier, and so on and so forth. So that is, in my opinion, a much better system. So it even out the opportunity cost versus the actual cost and the actual outcome of the fight, the loot that you can get from the fight. Crafting bases. Now we can have some additional crafting bases that drop with up to 30% quality or +1 to socket. Socketable. I think socket is a lot stronger than quality in general, because the value of a socketable, the normal runes, can exceed the value of 10% quality normally, right? But I can be very wrong on this. I did not do the math really carefully. Essence rework. So you have 4 tiers of essence now. The lesser essence, which you will see commonly during the campaign, the normal essence, greater essence, and then perfect essences, which works like a chaos ore. I will not go deep into this one. We will have also 7 new types of essences. So they are trying to add a bunch of additional crafting support into the game. So throughout our progression, we can actually interact more with crafting our own item to improve the character. Player changes. So sprint is available for all classes. You hold down spacebar, you dodge roll, and then after that dodge roll finish, you will just sprint, have more movement speed. It seems like a pretty significant amount of movement speed. So let's try it out and see how it works. It has the downside of when you get hit, you will be knocked down and probably dead. So yeah, we'll see. But backtracking might be a little bit less painful right now, or running through some long zone in the campaign, you can potentially use this function to just maneuver much quicker throughout the zones. Active skill gems is now limited to 1. So for example, now you cannot do 2 self-cast spark skill, for example, or 2 self-cast lightning skill, self-attack lightning skill. It doesn't count if the item, if the skill come from a unique item, or if you socket it into metagem, you still can do it. For example, I can play a spark with the Earthbound staff, and I have the trigger spark from the staff, and I can also have cast on crit and put spark into it. That is basically this line over here, right? Attribute requirement reduced by around 20 to 25%. This is absolutely amazing. This is great. So we don't have as much pressure for attribute to use all the gems at high level. They have a massive changes to elemental ailment system as well. In general, the ailments last longer, and in most cases, this is just a buff, right? For Ignite, now it becomes flammability. There's a bunch of technical stuff. If you want to read, you should be going to the patch note and read the part of flammability. It is now a debuff caused by taking fire damage, and it interacts with Ignite chance. So yeah, it is a little bit different from before. But in terms of like performance in the game, it should not feel that much different, right? Okay, I think I accidentally deleted it. Okay. Melee accuracy buff for player and for minion. The attack minions is going to ignore accuracy rating entirely. They are always going to hit. And for melee classes, when you need to get up close, the closer you are, the more accuracy you get, basically. Or, you know, the more effective your accuracy is going to be. I'm not sure which one it is, but regardless, it is the same result after all. You are going to hit more often, and you don't need to have as much investment into accuracy as you do before if you play those kind of build. Ascendancy. This is a pretty big section. So Warbringer, they have buffed the totem. They nerfed the block a little bit, I think. It is changing a little bit, but personally, I think in general it is kind of a nerfed. I don't know for sure. But anyway, with the buff to the like block recovery and the hits that you can block things, maybe it will even out. So that is why I'm not certain about if the block is nerf or buff. But totem and the spirit that you call by summoning the totem are heavily buffed. Smith of Kitava, so they remove the 5% maximum fire resistant node, and then now they give the 35% armor applies to elemental damage. So this one might be good. We'll need to see in game if it is going to be good enough, because the formula of armor is still unchanged. And for resistances, because of Smith of Kitava, most of the time we are going to be at 90% resistant of all elemental resistant anyway. So maybe this is not as valuable as it is. But this is the one of the big change. And manifest weapons have a slight buff, but probably still shit. Because before they have accuracy per dexterity, and now they have attack speed per dexterity. But if the base skill doesn't change much, they are not that useful in my opinion. Maybe they can be used to apply some debuff or something. Who knows? Gemling Legionnaire. So it has a charge generation. It's kind of mad because it allows you to gain charges every 8 seconds, depending on the color of most of your support gems, if that makes sense. So this is a little bit weird, and I don't think this is that good. Maybe if it is every 4 seconds, 3 seconds, it can be pretty okay, but 8 seconds, then you gain a charge of some kind, depending on your gem. You're not getting all the charges, by the way. You're getting one charge. If you have a lot of green gems, you will gain one frenzy charge. That is pretty bad. And then also it has changed the node that gives you double support gem. But right now it becomes giving you bonus based on the gem that you have the most, the color gem that you have the most. And the bonuses are red gem is immune to crit. Your character is immune to crit, which is pretty good. Blue gems is 30% less skill mana cost, which can be okay as well. And then green gems, I don't remember exactly, but it's not that like impressive. That is why I don't remember. Tactician actually looks pretty good. So Tactician is going to be another class that can do totem pretty well, because it also have +1 totem, just like the Warbringer. It also have 20% of your armor as is gained as deflection. So deflection is the new OP defenses mechanic. It basically functions like suppression in POE1, which every hit that you take, if you suppress, in this case, if you deflect, you will take less damage. In this case, it is all hit damage, so it can be spell, it can be attack, it can be explosion. It basically is everything. So if you have 100% chance to deflect, you will only receive 60% of the damage all the time for hits. So I think this is very, very, very OP mechanic for defenses. So maybe if armor turns out to be decent, then this can be a pretty good note, I think. Because traditionally, from the things that we see, deflection normally is gained through a percentage of your evasion from the skill tree and from some items. And the weird airstrike minion is buff. It has more AoE scaling with your stat, and it also have about 3 times the damage in general in all levels. Ritualist, the next one, it is buffed a little bit in general, but it is buffed a lot for the Lazy Exile AFK Corrupted Blood Shield build. I really like this build, which is why I remember it exactly. But it has the life recovery rate double from 5% to 10% per 5% missing life. If you played this build, or if you know about this build, you will understand what I'm saying here. But if you don't, it's not that important, to be honest. The main thing for the Ritualist is still going to be the third ring and also the buffed effect of the ring and the amulet. Amazon, they nerfed the crit chance from extra accuracy, so from 25 to 15%, so that is pretty big nerf. But still, I think it's going to be okay in terms of crit chance. It's still going to be much easier to cap crit with your Amazon compared to other classes, because the mechanic is still working the same way. So you get a lot of base crit chance. Buff Elemental Search, previously is called Elemental Infusion, but because Infusion now is a new mechanic to play with the Remnant for Elemental Spell, so they changed the name to Elemental Search. But it is the spell that you get, or the skill that you get when you used it. You consume the charges, and based on the charges that you have, you are going to gain a infused attack for your, or a search attack in this case, for your next couple of attacks. Pathfinder. So they buffed the elemental reduction node from 30 to 50%, and then slight rework of the concoction skill to match the new changes with the elemental ailments rework, right? So I'm not sure if it is good or not. Seems the explosion concoction is looking pretty good, because it have multiple additional concoction, small concoction throw along with the big one. It seems like that one can be promising. Other than that, everything else looks kind of the same, but a little bit different, basically. Deadeye, so they nerfed the frenzy charges gain. Now you no longer have chance to gain maximum frenzy charge anymore, which is kind of OP. Now you have a higher chance, 50%. Before it's 30% chance to gain maximum. Now it is 50% chance to gain 1 additional charge. So if you gain 1, now you gain 2. If you gain 2, now you gain 3. Not to the maximum. So in general, I think this is a big nerf. Mark, it has a mark meta skill built into the class. So if you have this skill, this notable, you can socket your mark skill into this skill, and it will automatically cast 2 enemies around your character. So that is the description. Yeah, it seems good, but we'll need to see exactly how it is, because later on, spoiler alert to the next part, mark skill is now no longer a spell, so you cannot do cast on crit, cast on shot, anything to automatically trigger a mark skill. So this is more valuable than you think if you compare it to the previous patch. It can also apply critical weakness up to 20 stack, which is 12% crit chance, I think. 12% base crit chance, which is very big. And it applied by consuming the mark. But if you continuously applying a mark, that should not be a problem, right? Invoker. Elemental Expression, which is the shitty skill that is a spell, and you trigger it through melee critical strike and deals teeny tiny amount of damage. Now the damage is buffed by around 50%. The base damage is just buffed by around 50%. So hopefully it's going to be good. Meditate buffed. Go Elon Musk. I guess. This is the only guy that I know using meditate frequently. So Chalupa, or Acolyte of Chayula. Lots of reworks and buffed notable. So I think this class looks pretty cool now. They have the, I think the coolest one is going to be the ability when you dodge roll, you leave behind yourself a rift. It's like a black hole kind of skill, and that destroyed everything. So it is pretty cool. I'm not sure about the number, but from the look of it, again, it's pretty cool. And remember, right? Remember, previous league, I played around with the dodge roll caltrop build. Seems like it received no nerf. Actually, let me just go real quick here. Caltrop. Yep, it received no change. So Caltrop is going to be the same. I think Caltrop build is going to be much stronger this league. There seems to be a bunch of additional synergy and new stuff that is synergizing with the dodge roll, and also the fact that we can use all support gem. Shit, I forgot. Trail of Caltrops is a skill, and right now the limitation is 1, I believe. That is kind of bad. Yeah, ripped, I guess. But maybe if this thing is strong enough, maybe this can be a class if you want to play a dodge roll build. Who knows? So yeah, I am excited to try this one out. This is one of the things that I'm really excited to try out. It looks pretty cool, and hopefully it will be strong enough. Blood Mage +2 free points compared to before. So you will always have the first 2 shitty points that nobody wants to take, but we have to take anyway, because it is forced on us. So right now that is for free. We will have Sangumancy for free, and then now we can actually have 4 points into the other stuff, which is pretty damn strong. So they have the slight nerf to the crit multi-scaling, but they buff everywhere else basically. One important thing as well, if you play an attack build, or if you play an attack build for this class, right? If you care about the crit multi, but you don't care about the base spell crit chance node for the Ascendancy, the crit multi now is moved before the crit chance. So the crit chance is now the final node, so it doesn't feel weird if you have to take it, right? It is in general just better. I think this class is just going to be nuts this patch. It previously is probably the strongest, if not like in the top 2, top 3, but it is one of the stronger class of the previous patch. Seems like it is just in general buffed this patch, so it's going to be very good. I think Blood Mage is going to be very well present in the meta. Infernalist demon form is buffed, I'm pretty sure. Why am I pretty sure here? So demon form, before you lose your weapon, now you can keep the stat of your weapon. So that is a good thing. But you also lose the bonus of 6 level to spell skills, to spell gems, to all spell gems from the previous demon form. You lose the increased spell damage per shadow flame. Now you gain 3% more spell damage, which is better than increased, per shadow flame. Well, we will need to see the performance in the game. What kind of build can we play with this? Any other setup that we can potentially use to effectively gain a lot of shadow flame. If it is just 10 stack at face value, that is 30% more spell damage, which is a standard damage notable, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be in general good, but we need to see. Infernal Hound, and Red Mana, which is the Infernal Flame, the Pyromantic Pact node, is buffed. Infernal Hound have bigger AoE for the Ignite, and the Pyromantic Pact, or the Red Mana, is double. So if you have 1,000 mana before you take the node, you have 1,000 Infernal Flame. Now you have 2,000 Infernal Flame. But it also degen, or deplete slower as well. In general, in most cases of the people, or the player or the character abusing the pyromantic pack for some weird build, we want to have higher infernal flame so we can take more damage, and then we can use that damage taken for something else, right? So I think this is in general a buff. Lich, slightly changed, not much, but it is almost the same power level in my opinion. Same for Chronomancer, is slightly changed a little bit, and not that worth mentioning, is almost the same power level as well. Stormweaver, Elemental Storm is buffed to 3-second cooldown instead of 5, so it's still shit. Cool synergy with New Remnant. I think this potentially can be strong. We will need to see the number on the actual Remnant synergy with all the spells to know if this is going to be strong or not, but you can generate a lot of Remnants with the new Stormweaver's Ascendancies. Passive tree changes. So there's a lot of new passive. Totally more newbie friendly. PoE is not bloated at all. Some keystones got reworked. My personal highlights is going to be the two down here. So Giant Blood have a huge downside now. So 50% less life from strength. As if the life build is not like... I don't understand. Giant Blood is strong, but I don't think this is like justified at all. This is too much. Maybe 25%. Maybe that is acceptable. Anyway, Glancing Blow give chance to deflect is lucky, given how this global suppression mechanic is kind of OP. So maybe this can be a good notable. Maybe, just maybe, especially if you do not build around a lot of evasion, which is the majority of the gain deflection chance that you can get. Skill changes. So there's a lot of skill changes, but here are some of the things that I think are worth mentioning. So blink and some reservation skills cannot be weapon set specific anymore. So if you have blink, if you want to enable blink, it has to be enable for both of your weapon sets. So no longer weapon swap blink and then weapon swap back to your main set and then you can do more damage. I don't understand why they do this. I don't think this is broken at all before, and it's not even like easy to use. It's not just like you press one button and you blink. The blink button is the dodge roll. So you need to press the weapon swap button and then you can blink, and then you need to use the skill to weapon swap back. I don't think it is that smooth and that broken, so I don't understand this change at all. I think this is totally unnecessary. Mark skill. This is not Mark Robert. This is the mark skill in the game. Are not spell anymore, so you cannot trigger them through cast on crit, cast on shock, those kind of thing. Slight damage buff at all gem, for all gems at high level. So approximately 5% at level 20, which is basically nothing, to 20% at level 30. And this is starting to be a little bit more significant. So 20% more damage at gem level 30. Gem level 30 is relatively easy to achieve for a lot of gems. So yeah, I think this is a pretty significant buff. Spectre costs less spirit to reserve in general and deals more damage, so hopefully Spectre is going to be good. They said in the content reveal that they are really terrified of Spectres being broken, so they intentionally make them weak early on and then buff them later, and now they buff them. Hopefully this is going to be enough, because they said it deals more damage. We don't know how much more damage, so we'll need to see. Palm skill by default now required a quarter staff, and it also scale with the staff damage. So palm skill actually is usable as a face value here. And then if you want to do like true unarmed palm skill like a martial artist, you will need to use the hollow palm technique keystone. Totems. Now use your weapon as base damage as well. This is pretty big change. Arc is now a projectile. Why this big change, by the way? I want to talk a little bit about totem, because before totem scale with level, And now it's still probably still scale with level, but not as much because the base damage is scale off of your weapon. So you don't need to push the level too high, which means you don't need to care about the cost of the skill being too high before it is absolutely too high. Very, very high cost. Anyway, Arc is now a projectile skill. So, well, Sire Shard, Arc, I think Arc is going to be pretty damn good. And maybe because it is now projectiles, it is going to work really well with a friend that is Spark. So, who knows? We will need to see the actual function of the skill in the game, what tags did it have, how it interact with multiple other unique item and skill gems. We'll see, right? But being a projectiles is mostly never something that is a nerf. It is always a buff. Archmage, not Archmage is buffed by 25%, which means before every 100 mana you gain 3% of extra damage as lightning. Now it is 4%, so it is pretty significant. Maybe Archmage can be, good this league. It's not going to be as broken as the initial release, but it's going to be pretty good, I think. Lots of new elemental spell interaction with each other because they have the whole new system with the elemental infusion, which is the remnant. Yeah, there's a lot of potential builds there that we can play around with. Lightning Spear is nerfed, well deserved, but it looks kind of fine to me. I don't see that they nerf the actual damage number. They do nerf the projectiles at the top end, but it seems like it can still split a lot and just destroy everything on the screen regardless. I think it's fine. Rake Stomp. So Rake is the skill that used to be a travel skill. Therefore, it can trigger Stomping Ground, which is a support gem that deals damage based on your strength. And it is killed entirely. So Rake Stomp is no longer a build because the Rake skill lost the travel tag. So it cannot be supported by Stomp or Stomping Ground anymore. So that is no longer a thing. A lot of other skill changes and balancing and add Kautorak. Thorn is nerfed, and for some reason I don't know why Thorn is nerfed, but Scavenging Plating is nerfed very, very heavily. Unique item. Beir's Anguish is killed again. They killed it like live last patch because they think it's too good. And now they killed it again. It is entirely dead. I don't think Bear's Anguish is a viable build anymore because now what it does is just drop a Burning Ground. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it can still be viable if the Burning Ground is big enough, but I doubt it. I doubt it will be good. And anyway, if they keep the scaling the same way as it is as the nerf version, it's not going to be that good in terms of damage anyway. So Beir's Anguish pretty much confirmed dead. Maligaro's Glove now nerfed to 250% crit multi. So before it was fixing your crit multi at 300%. Now it is 250. Pretty big nerf. Some uniques are drop disabled for further balancing, so some of them might not be in the game, but seems like it's just like whatever unique that is not that important. General items, there are many socketable balances. The soul core seems to be now a specific to an item slot. For example, the percent life soul core before is 2% life when you socket into any armor item. Your glove, your boots, your armor, your helmet. Now you can only get the percentage life if you socket it into your body armor, but it's going to be 3% instead of 2%. That is an example. It repeat that theme in a lot of soul core. So the socketable got a lot of balances. In general, a lot of nerfs, but mostly a quite minor nerf. For example, some items, the pickaxe have the crit multi implicit reduced by 5%, for example. Those kind of nerfs, right? They are pretty minor. I don't think they're going to be that big of a deal. Bug fixes. There are a lot of bug fixes here, but the two that I mentioned here I think is quite funny and maybe a little bit notable, but there's a lot of bug fixes as expected from a unfinished game, right? Earthquake used to double dipping from AoE scaling. Well, Earthquake used to be very big, now it's not going to be as big if you invest the same amount of AoE. And then Lightning Bolt from Choir the Storm. I used to play with this a lot when it was able to generate energy for cast on crit, but they already killed that interaction. And apparently, because it used to be able to generate your energy for triggered skill, apparently it's not considered a triggered skill in the first place. So they did not benefit from any triggered skill damage scaling that we get from skill tree, from support gem. So now this is considered a buff, right? So that is everything I want to mention in this video. Well, it has to be a relatively long video because the patch notes is always huge. So let me know what you think about this patch. Again, I am not happy that the druid is not finished. But from the footage that Darth microtransaction just released in one of his short video, we know that the druid is not coming from Jonathan Rogers' word himself. The druid is not coming. It is currently in what he called a animation hell. So basically, they add a lot of animal form into the druid, which means the druid is going to be wicked cool. I think maybe there will be porcupine form. Maybe that is the thing, Kautorak. Maybe that is the thing that basically bring the nerf to Scavenging Plating, bring the nerf to Thorn. They are supposed to come this patch, but they cannot make it. So yeah, Thorn is just nerf. And yeah, I'm excited for the bear form, the wolf form. Hopefully we have more. But yeah, that is the state of the druid. So that is everything. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.